Sports talk conversations with a good laugh mixed in. This is the Sports Talk with Thetford and Ashby podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
I'm Mike Hebert, owner of Cantex Roofing and Construction. Every day is game day, and we'll get it right when it comes to your roofing, construction, windows, and mirrors. Call Cantex Roofing and Construction today. Together, we are one serving you.
A Mighty Wash, the car wash for the Texas Tech coaches. They all got a special little card that they can go there. That's their support of Texas Tech. Plus, this is a locally owned outfit. They employ over 400 people here in the Permian Basin, and big time. I'm telling you, they are everywhere across this part of the state of Texas and eastern New Mexico, and they need to be your car wash. Stop in and see them at Mighty Wash. Free vacuums and the whole deal. Where do you get your bus? You can't take your bus through there.
It's pretty difficult to get that in. Yes, you have to do that just by hand.
Oh,
it's a little bit of a chore,
and it's big.
It's a little bit of a chore. That's not a 5-minute job.
How about this place over here? There's a place that washes trucks.
You could go there.
That works.
I've never tried that, but you could. Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. I'm getting the impression you wash your own.
That is correct, sir.
Wow. Admirable.
You really do?
Yes, sir, I do.
All by yourself? Does Linda help?
Pretty much by myself.
That's his way of saying Linda doesn't help.
I didn't say that. I definitely
That's what I heard.
Pretty much by myself.
All right, you're out there tailgating at one of these away games and stuff. Would you wear one of these?
Oh, everybody ought to have one of those. It looks like I'm not sure that I would wear one, but everybody should have one of those. Yes, so absolutely.
Do they come in a left-handed model? Do we know? Where do you get those?
From Beth Cardinal. That's all.
Call everybody. Give Beth's phone number.
Oh, Beth's number is. Yeah, you can go with your backhand.
Yeah.
Just go with your backhand. Anyway, I just didn't know if you'd actually use one of these or not. I wasn't going to give it to you.
Well, I was sure of that. I was pretty sure of that.
I would find you one, though.
That's pretty cool.
There you go. Yeah, anyway.
Well, Terry, we're so glad to have you here. It's just good to be with the Great Red Raiders.
Well, I appreciate the invitation, and it's always good to come in and visit with y'all. And it's just always great to be back on campus. I love coming to this place and spending time here. It's unfortunate this time of year you don't really get a chance to visit with many students because there's not many on campus right now. Classes start up again this coming week. But
do you go in and talk to the petroleum engineering department?
Yes.
I bet you do.
I do. I thoroughly enjoy it.
I loved you in Landman. I think you're doing a great job.
Or what would be your role? Which one of those would be you?
He'd be Billy.
Yeah. I was the guy that got burned up in that very first episode.
All crispy now.
Yeah.
I know it's not a completely accurate, but it sure is fun to watch.
Oh yeah, Billy Bob makes it fun for sure.
Really
There's no question about that. He's quite the character. I enjoyed the little bit of time I got to spend around him on set. He was fun.
Yeah, you've been down there kind of talking to him a little bit.
Well, I was early on before they got started, actually filming, and I was around when they shot the first scene when you saw the giant fire.
Yeah.
And that was kind of the end of my activities with them.
Well, but you were a part. None of us had been a part.
Well,
we're just watching it.
I think you're probably better off just watching.
But Texas Tech's getting lots of
Texas Tech has gotten a lot good. Some of it positive, and some of it maybe not so positive. But yes, we have.
Overton Hotel, Plains Capital.
First couple of episodes, it looked like we're all just bumpkins, double T tattoo on our shoulder, and just. And we're not all bumpkins. Some of us are bumpkins, but
people
not all.
People are watching us right now going, yeah, you are.
All of us are, not Terry, but all David and I are. But now then, we got the shiny girl's going to go to Tech, and the football quarterback is going to, he's...
Well, yeah, if I was him, I would too.
Yeah. Follow her
to
wherever.
Well, it's just fun. And, it's just Midland and Odessa, and... I watch it and I go, yeah, I drive down that road.
What's the least realistic thing in it? Well, the death?
Yeah.
Not that much death.
The destruction in that first episode with the well blowing up the way it blew up, I had a lot of discussion with them about that ahead of time, but they insisted that was going to happen.
It's Hollywood.
It was going to happen. And so I just tried to help them come up with a scenario that was at least plausible. This could happen.
Okay.
And at any rate.
But it sounds like you're not on board anymore.
That is correct.
And it's your decision.
No, I wouldn't say that.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you're sort of a straight shooter.
I made some comments with the crew. Now, the actors, I thoroughly enjoyed working with those folks. And they were very interested in learning a little bit about the oil business. We had a 2-day classroom session with them in Fort Worth before we started doing any of the filming, and kind of gave them an overview of the oil and gas business and how it works, and that it wasn't Carlsbad Cavern down there underground full of oil, that the oil was actually in the rock, and just some of the basics like that. And then originally that pumping unit that you saw pretty much on fire in that first episode, originally the way it was written, that pumping unit was going to explode and kill those people, and then of course have a fire. And I explained to them, when I read that script, I explained to them that that pumping unit's 99.9% steel. There's nothing flammable about that steel, and so it's not likely that the pumping unit would blow up like you were depicting it in this what you're presenting me here. I said, but we could come up with a scenario where you could have a fire big enough in front of it to get what you're trying to accomplish here without thinking that the pumping unit would explode. And we could have it somewhat realistic, but I've had several comments from some friends of mine that are in the industry about that first episode, and most. Again, 99.9% of the people wouldn't know this or wouldn't notice it, but the guy that was hammering on that wrench was actually hammering it in the direction that closes the valve instead of opening the valve, because he's turning the valve the wrong direction.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Yeah.
And and then.
What is it, righty-tighty?
That's it, lefty-loosey.
Lefty-loosey.
You've got it. You could work in the oil field.
I know I could be a production guy.
You could be in the oil field, no doubt about it. And so anyway, I had been working a couple of days ahead of time on this scene with the safety people with Paramount Pictures, and kind of reviewing what we were going to do. And I was really impressed with the special effects guys when they get ready to shoot these scenes. They had a 500-gallon propane tank in the background, and then they had a large tank of diesel, and they had piped underground over to the wellhead this propane and diesel so that they could get this spark, and it would ignite the propane, and then they pumped the diesel in as fast as they could, and that's how you got all that black smoke going everywhere. And so
are you there when they're doing it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So you're standing over there on the side.
So, we've kind of reviewed how that's going to work and the safety and to get the spark. If you recall, the guy's hammering on that wrench, and then there's a little spark in the deal. Well, to get that spark to happen, they ran an electric wire underground on the other side of the pumping unit, and they ran it over and they ran it up inside this guy's pant leg, and then up inside his shirt, and out the sleeve of his shirt, and it's got this little sparker on the end of it. And so a guy's standing over on the side of the scene, on the side behind the pumping unit, with a button in, and every time he would hear that wrench get hit by that hammer, he punched the button, and a little electric spark shoots out from here. So it makes it look like that the wrench being hit is what's sparking. And so that's how they were going to ignite the fire. And so they shot all of that, and then they moved those 3 guys away, and they put 3 mannequins in there dressed exactly like they were, same hard hats, everything, and then they started pumping the propane and the diesel in there and blew the thing up and burned all those 3 mannequins to the ground. And so that's how they actually filmed the scene.
All right, did they have some backup mannequins just in case
Yes, they did.
work?
Yes, they did.
I sort of thought they would.
Because they shot the scene twice.
Okay.
To make sure they got all the fire exactly the way they wanted it. So yeah,
that's fun.
But I lost my my appetite for the job, and they lost their appetite for my input about the job. That same morning, same morning, I was out there again doing the safety inspection, and I walked up by the well, and there was a sign stuck in the ground right by the well, maybe 10 feet away, and I looked at the sign, and it said fiberglass rods. Now, I know what a fiberglass rod is, not hardly anybody else would know what that was, but the sign made no sense to be sitting right there by the well because there was no fiberglass rods stored there, and there never would be any fiberglass rods stored there. That sign would actually be over at the warehouse to let you know where they are. And so I pointed it out to one of the assistant directors that this sign really makes us look like we don't know what we're doing. It really makes us look stupid because this sign wouldn't be here. We really should have a sign here that says MTEX Oil Company, because that's the operating company. It should have the lease name on it, and it should have the well number on it. That's what we need here.
Yeah.
And
they should have said, sounds good.
Yeah. Well,
but they didn't.
They didn't because the art director, a young woman from Hollywood, had made that sign, and she was really proud of that sign. And so the assistant director goes over and talks to Taylor Sheridan, comes back, and he says, well, the art director is pretty happy with that sign, and they want to leave it. I said, well, okay. I'm just trying to do what you asked me to do, which is to give you advice. And this sign looks pretty stupid. He says,
why couldn't she have made you a sign of what you said?
Well, I guess they didn't have time because we're fixing to shoot the scene. Because the sign wasn't there the day before when I was inspecting. Yeah. They had just put it up that morning. So, any rate.
Now, did that irritate you to the point where you said, heck?
No.
Okay, good. Are we getting to that point?
I'll hurry up and get to that point.
No hurry. No hurry at all.
So this lady.
3-hour show.
Yeah, this lady walks over to me and says, I understand you have a problem with the sign here. I said, well, the sign is really nice. I mean, you did a great job with that sign. It's just not in the right place. It wouldn't be here. It'd be, over there. And if you want to have a sign here, this is what you should put, because the regulatory commission would actually have you're required to have a sign there with the operator name, the lease, and the well number on it. So that's the sign you should have here. And she was pretty indignant at that point. She turned around and huffed off. And then the assistant director had been over visiting again with Taylor Sheridan, and he comes over and he pulls that sign up out of the ground and hauls it off. And then that lady came back over again, and so I apologized to her. I said, I didn't mean to cause you any problem, but I just was doing what I was asked to do. And at any rate, she was not happy, to say the least. Well, little to my knowledge, she was the person who put out the filming schedule on a daily basis, and in an email she would send the schedule so you would know, hey, you need to be at this place at 10 a.m. tomorrow to shoot this scene. Well, after that day, I never got another email.
She was in charge of it.
So 3 weeks later, I finally called the assistant director. I said, hey, I don't know if I'm supposed to have been out there at any filming over the last 3 weeks, but I've not received a single email since the day you took that sign down. And he says, you haven't? I said, no, I haven't. He said, well, I see there's a problem. I said, well, at any rate, that was my last day. I never got invited back. I made the art director. Something. I made the art director unhappy, and so I never went back. That's
ridiculous. You're giving them good counsel.
It was fun. So.
Well, you definitely watched the show from a different set of eyes than David and I, because they would have had that sign there, and she would have been happy, and I would not have noticed. At all.
Oil people
but
would
somebody
known.
like you, an oil person, would know that, hey, what the heck? But you probably see a lot of stuff like that.
Yeah. That was pretty common with what they were doing, and which is kind of why they had originally asked Marshall Watson, the chairman of Petroleum Engineering here at Texas Tech, to do this job. And because Taylor Sheridan had actually come to Lubbock and had gone out to our Oilfield Technology Center that we have out there on the east side of town, where we have the drilling rig and pumping units and all the equipment, so our students can go out there and get hands-on experience with these various operations that go on in the oil field. And at any rate, so Taylor Sheridan had been out there and seen the stuff, and so he asked Marshall Watson, our chairman, to take on this consulting role. And Marshall said, well, the problem with that is I'm also a professor, and I can't just go to Fort Worth to shoot a scene 3 days a week. And he said, well, you got anybody that might be able to? And so Dr. Watson gave him my name. He said, this guy, at least lives in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, so he could be able to help you. So that's how I got involved. Okay. And so,
now,
again,
other than the art director that you couldn't play well with, did you like the other people?
Oh yeah. Like I said, the people who are actually shooting the scenes that you see that are oil field related, not the golf course or the law office or any of those
places.
places.
The bedroom scene.
Yeah. I was not
Did
invited.
you help them on those?
I was not invited.
Really, what you ought to do here.
Yeah. They actually have a person. I saw the name in this, and when I was getting these emails, you got a roster of all the people and what their job title is, and they have somebody called the intimacy coordinator.
Now can you take that in tech?
And I did not get involved and asked to come to any of those. They didn't. So.
Intimacy coordinator.
Yeah. So.
Well, they're a pretty rough person, whoever that is. All I know, go for it. It's crazy.
So
it's kind of gotten out of hand a little bit on the intimacy part.
Yeah.
And the language is a little.
The language is pretty rough, too.
But I understand that's
probably pretty typical in the oil field.
Yeah.
You better have some pretty thick skin.
Yeah.
And from what I've been told, they actually like to show that skin a lot more than I've seen in the oil field.
Yeah.
Don't remember seeing.
Well, we want you to tell us about all your trouble with the cartels when we come back, because evidently that's a big deal in the oil field. You got the cartels out there stealing your planes.
Yeah, stealing the planes. I guess that's why I don't own a plane. I
don't want it stolen.
Don't want it stolen. Yeah.
Can you stay a little longer?
I can if you need me to stay.
Well, we want to talk. Sure. Get back to that's.
We might want to talk about sports here.
Because I love the Landman. I've been watching it.
Well, I'm glad you do.
It's good. Yeah,
I'm glad you're enjoying it. I have not seen the last couple of scenes, so I don't know. I need to get back to it, but I just haven't.
It's good. All right, we're going to be right back. Terry Fuller's here on Sports Talk with Thetford and Ashby.
Sports Talk conversations with a good laugh mixed in. This is the Sports Talk with Thetford and Ashby podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
Hey, quarter four, this is the old Cardinals. You used to the new name yet, quarter four?
I haven't gotten used to that new name, but...
it's growing on me.
Yeah. It's.
I like
that's
it.
Good.
Yeah, I think they've done good.
And they do a good job over there with Texas Tech gear.
Yes, they do.
Big time. And they, of course, Brad White's the same people. And the people didn't change. It's just they changed the name. And absolutely wonderful store. Everything you're looking for. Great apparel. And, of course, they outfit teams and uniforms and trophies and so many things. We use them for a lot of things, and they're the best. At quarter four, just outside the loop on Slide Road.
All right, real quickly, I told the people earlier in the show about the article they wrote on Terry, which is pretty interesting. I'm going to read some quotes from you and see if these are
This could
correct.
be dangerous.
Make some up, Gary.
And I'm going to read it like Terry would have said it. Texas Tech Texas Tech gave me all the tools I needed. It allowed me to change other people's lives. It gave me that skill set and, more importantly, confidence. I've been beaten to the ground, been told that I can't do anything, but you get up off the ground, you say, yes, I can. That's what Tech did for me, and I hope it still does for students today. Tech teaches you life skills, not what's in the classroom, but outside it. And that's how, not necessarily the classroom too, but not what's in the classroom, but outside it. And that's how you have a chance to be more successful in life than if you would just book learning. That's the beauty of Texas Tech.
That's a good quote.
Tech been very, very good to you.
Yeah.
You are correct.
And you've been very, very good to Tech.
Well, Texas Tech took me from not being all that successful a background to having an opportunity to make something. And I can never repay Texas Tech, and in particular Dr. Harold Winkler, who is the person who introduced me to petroleum engineering when I was a high school student, and got me off on that into that path for a career. it's hard to pay back somebody who really set you an opportunity to set yourself on a pathway that.
Well, you were just up visiting Tech, right? You're up visiting Tech.
Yes, I was.
You run across him.
Yes, I was looking to be an engineer. I didn't know what kind of engineer. Being from Amarillo, Paladura, as we were talking about a little bit earlier, on my side of town, an engineer was the guy that drove the train for Santa Fe Railway. Yeah, we didn't have any role models as engineers, so I really didn't know too much about it. All I knew was civil engineering and mechanical engineering. That's the only two things I'd ever heard of. It's 1973. I come to Tech while I was still in high school to tour engineering and learn a little bit more about those two departments. And those guys were really nice. And at lunchtime, they were taking me to the Student Union building to have lunch. And we were walking across the engineering quay out there, that grassy area. And just so happened, while we're walking across the grass, another gentleman comes walking out there, and they stop and they introduce me to this guy. And his name was Dr. Harold Winkler, and he was chairman of Petroleum Engineering. And he says, well, while you're here on campus, why don't you come over and let me tell you about petroleum engineering? And I was like, what are you talking about? I'm thinking, I didn't say this to the guy. I wasn't that stupid, but I was stupid. And
you thought it was like oil change?
Yeah. I didn't know a thing about petroleum engineering. I'd never even heard of petroleum engineering. Why? Because the price of oil was $3 a barrel. Yeah. And it had been $3 a barrel for decades. It just never changed. It was always $3. And so we get over to lunch, and in those days, we had those paper catalogs that listed all the classes you're going to take, and I opened that thing up, and I'm looking at it, and for the very first time, I actually realized every engineering student takes the exact same class when you're freshmen, so it doesn't really matter if you're in mechanical or civil or petroleum or chemical, whatever. Everybody's going to take the exact same classes, so now I got a piece of information I didn't have before. I go over to, we finish lunch, and I go over to petroleum engineering, and it was a tiny, tiny building. I mean, there were fewer than 100 students in petroleum engineering. And sit down at Dr. Winkler's desk, and he says, if you're a petroleum engineering student, I can guarantee you a summer job. He said, we got these oil companies over here in Levelland, 30 miles away, Brownfield, 35 miles away, Midland, 100 miles away, and they hire every one of our students for a summer job. So nobody in mechanical said a word about a summer job. Nobody in civil said a word about a summer job. So now you got my attention because I know I need money. And so he looks at my SAT score and class president and all that other, stuff that you think is important because your parents have told you it's important, your teachers have told you it's important, but it's really not. But that's what you've been told, so that's what you do. He looks at all that and he says...
Your permanent record.
Yeah. He looks at all that and he says, in fact, Mr. Fuller, if you'll go into petroleum engineering today, I'm going to offer you a $500 scholarship. Now you have all of my attention because in 1973, tuition at Texas Tech was $4 an hour.
$4 an hour.
So you could take 17 hours of engineering classes for $68. And he's offering me $500.
He's a crazy talk.
So I got enough money to pay for my tuition, my books, fees, everything. All I got to do is have enough money now.
I can join a fraternity now
to live in a dorm. That's it. So I said, Dr. Winkler, you got yourself a petroleum engineer, and that's how it happened for me. Just
my gosh.
Total happenstance meeting this guy walking across the engineering quay out there, which is why even to this day, every time I come to campus, I take a little bit of time and walk out there and walk through the engineering quay just to say thank you for.
I'm gonna start going out there.
Thank you, Lord.
So that's how it happened for Terry
great.
Fuller, and that's why I'm so passionate about giving back, is because I would have never had the opportunity to get in that career position had it not been for Dr. Winkler.
That's an awesome story.
We got another awesome story.
Let's go back to that one. You're going to Albuquerque. Coach Knight has called and said, don't come.
Well, he's been 5 years. Let's set it up. He's been 5 years of going to every single basketball game.
Haven't missed one.
Now we're here in the 5th year in the playoffs.
Yeah. So we've made it for 5 years. We've gone to every ball game all across the country, and we're playing in the NCAA tournament. and we play the first 2 rounds out in Arizona, and we beat Gonzaga to go to the Sweet 16. And that Sweet 16 is going to be in Albuquerque. And so the next weekend, I'm driving the bus, and Linda's riding with me, and we're almost to Lubbock on the way to Albuquerque, and my phone rings, and I pick it up the phone, and it's Bob Knight. So, yeah, Coach, what's going on? And he says, Fuller, don't bother coming to Albuquerque. You don't have a ticket. And he hangs up. And I was like, I was kind of looking around. What was that about? And Linda says, who was that? And I said, well, that was Coach Knight. Well, what'd he say? He says, don't come to Albuquerque. You don't have a ticket. It's like, what did you do? And I said, well, we're going to Albuquerque. We're halfway there already, so we're going, and we'll find a ticket from somebody, and we're going to the game. We're not missing at this point in life. And so we drove on up there, and I pulled the bus into the team hotel parking lot, and Pat Knight comes running out there, and I open the door, and he says, Fuller, don't worry, you've got a ticket. There was a misunderstanding. I said, evidently there was a misunderstanding. I don't know what it was, but he said, don't worry, you got a ticket. And then, so we started talking, and I said, what happened? It's been 5 years, and I hadn't missed a game, and now I don't have a ticket. And he says, well, if you remember last week, we were sitting in the hotel bar after winning that game against Gonzaga, and we're sitting around, and there was some Indiana people in there, because in those days, Bob was relatively new to Texas Tech, and he had these Indiana people that were still fans of his that would come down and come to some of the ball games. And you were visiting with them, and I remember the incident. One of the guys says, Fuller, why do you bother going to all these games? You guys don't have a history of winning anything. And well, you don't tell any Red Raider that.
Yeah.
And I sure wasn't going to take that. And I said, well, I'll grant you one thing. We don't have any national championship banners for the men's basketball team hanging around, but I know you've been to our arena, and you can look up there, and there's lots of banners up there of winning the Southwest Conference, going to the NCAA tournament, Sweet 16s, things like that. So I know you've seen it. So to say we've had no success really is not correct.
That's right.
And so at any rate, one of the Indiana guys, I guess, didn't like what I said, and he told Bob that I had trashed Indiana basketball history, and I had said nothing about Indiana.
It reminds me of that girl on the set of Landman.
So Bob obviously was very unhappy with me, because he thought I was trashing his legacy at Indiana University, and Pat knew that's not what I said, but he couldn't convince Bob of that either. And so, at any rate, that's my Bob Knight story in the Sweet 16 in Albuquerque. And
what did he say to you the next time you saw you? Do you remember?
Like nothing ever happened.
Yeah.
Nothing ever happened.
He's not going to admit wrong, does
Then
he?
you called him out there. Well, you should have just called him out.
Yeah. But then there's a lot of other things.
Got a text here from our buddy Wes Kitley. You know Wes Kitley.
I'm so glad that you brought that up, because
he says, y'all take it easy on my guy.
Well, I appreciate that. I was going to mention to you, I'm sure you're aware of this, but we're going to be celebrating the life and legacy of our close friend Corky Oglesby. I know you spent a lot of time around Corky, and as we all have. And at any rate, we're going to be having the first indoor track meet next weekend. The Corky Classic starts on Friday. And I'll throw out there, for Coach Kitley's sake, and everybody else who might be listening today, about track, we are the defending national champions.
Yeah.
We may not have won at Indiana in basketball, but we won it in track last year. And so we're the defending national champions, and I'm looking so forward to getting the season kicked off next weekend here in Lubbock.
You gave Coach Kitley a little time. Terry, I think we're going to have so many champions. We are so blessed.
We are
to have Wes Kitley.
We are, and he's just, besides being a great coach, a great ambassador for Texas Tech, he's just genuinely a great person.
Yeah, he is.
He just treats everybody the way you want to be treated.
Yeah.
There's not anybody any better on this campus than Wes Kitley.
You got it. We agree. He is He's phenomenal. We're so glad he's here. You know the story when Gerald hired him, don't you? I'm sure he told you. They met. Where'd they meet, Gary? Somewhere down there. And Coach.
Oh, is it Abilene? I think.
Yeah, somewhere like in the middle. Yeah. Well, let's see.
Well, he was coaching in Abilene at the time.
He was coaching in Abilene. I thought
so they might have met somewhere between here and there.
But anyway, Coach Myers has gone down to hire him, and of course Wes didn't know he won all those national championships at Abilene Christian, and they go and his wife went with him, and anyway, she's sitting in the car and he's in there talking to Coach Myers, and Coach Myers offers him $65,000, I think, or something like that, and then. Wes is just overwhelmed with that. It's so great. He says, well, let me go talk to my wife. She's out here. And so he gets to the door, and Coach Myers yells, Coach, $85,000. Coach Myers is a negotiator. And he loves it. He loves it here.
Oh, no question about it. And his wife, Linda, she's just a champion. And, they're a great family.
Yeah,
okay,
really are.
Let's do a couple of these texts because sometimes I forget we even do texts, but we've got them and we appreciate them. All right, texter says, Gene Arrington and Robert Eccles were members of the Paladura State Championship basketball team in 1956.
Yeah, Gene Arrington.
Yeah.
It was Gilly the coach?
Yes.
Oh.
Terry and Linda are great Red Raiders. Everybody knows that they gave back to Tech athletics, but they have a scholarship endowment at every college at Texas Tech. Is that a fact?
Yes, sir. That is a fact.
That's quite a fact.
At every college at Texas Tech?
Yes.
How many are there?
Well, I think there's maybe, 13 or something like that. But you have to understand, my wife is not an engineer. She's got her degree in liberal arts. She's her degree from Texas Tech, psychology and English.
Psychology.
Yeah.
Has that helped?
Well, it hadn't helped me a lot.
You?
It hadn't helped me a lot, but it's helped her understand me a little bit, maybe. But
I took one course, and then I really wish I'd have paid more attention because it could come in handy.
What, Fun Machine?
No, psychology.
Oh, psychology.
Texter says, what's the name of the show y'all were talking about? And that's Landman.
Landman.
And
It's on Paramount Plus or whatever. Anyway.
Did they pay you to do that, or did they you were just a assistant?
As it turns out, I was just a volunteer, evidently, because I never
As it turns out,
it was
what volunteer.
On my terminology, it would be called a dry hole. I drilled a dry hole. I didn't get anything.
Okay.
Yeah.
But they got what they paid for, evidently.
Where did you meet Linda?
I met Linda, actually, she offered me a job when I was graduating from Texas Tech in petroleum engineering. She was working in the HR department for a company called Arco Oil and Gas in Dallas.
Yeah.
And her job was recruiting engineers, geologists, and geophysicists to come to work for Arco. And so I had interviewed on campus, and I'd interviewed down in Midland. And one day I get this phone call from somebody named Linda Gibbs. And she says, seems like I should know you, but I don't. And I said, well, how's that? And she says, well, she went to Amarillo Paladura as well.
Oh, wow.
But because she's older than I am, we weren't there at the same time. And she worked at Ross Rogers Golf Course, which is exactly where I worked.
Oh, my gosh.
And so we knew a bunch of the same people, but we had never been in the same place at the same time. So we hadn't met. And so at that point, we still hadn't met except over the phone. At any rate, she was offering me this job to come to work for Arco, and I appreciated that. And she sent a follow-up letter, so it was in writing to do that. And eventually, a couple of weeks later, I decided to go to work for a different company. And so I called her because she had been so nice to me on the phone.
We're going to have to come back to the rest of the story, but when we come back, we're going to hear the love story here, and then we're going to talk. We're going to talk NIL and Matador and all the things Texas Tech. Be right back.
Sports talk conversations with a good laugh mixed in. This is the Sports Talk with Thetford and Ashby podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
I noticed that in this spot where they played the spots, that Patrick Mahomes was just on our show. He was talking about McGavick Nissan, He loves to be on our show and talk
thank
about them.
That's great.
We should thank him.
Yeah.
Hey, if you see Daryl Bednar's at the basketball game today, he will be there. If you see him, tell him happy birthday.
Yep, it's his birthday.
All right, here's a text from Jan Brewer. She says, a really good Red Raider right there. Terry is such a good person. He sits across the way from me at basketball. She's a Red Raider.
Yeah, she's right down the way on the other side of the goal down there.
Yeah.
I got another one here for you. I got two of them here for you. Steve Pitts.
Oh.
Steve Pitts says, Fuller, one of the best guests you've had on in a long time. That's quite a compliment because we've had.
Well, I take that as quite a compliment, especially from Mr. Pitts.
Pitts, I know it. And the other one was Sid Chance, who listens all the time. He said, would you mind asking Terry if he ever crossed paths with a cousin of mine named Glenn David Jones in South Lake? He passed away a few years ago, but was a very successful businessman and a huge sports fan. I don't know if you know.
I did not. I don't know. We lived in South Lake
Was this
for
big?
For about 10 years, and then moved to Frisco. So we left South Lake in 2010.
I played Vaquero.
Oh yeah, that's a
The
nice
golf course.
That's a very nice.
You know, the
golf
best
course.
part about Vaquero is the shower after. It's like they have these showers up there, and you can't breathe. The water's coming down so hard. It was the best.
It's a great golf course, no doubt about it.
It really was. I liked it. All right.
Texter says, you guys, not talking about you, are on the fast track to the home. And that's
what we're trying for.
We talked about dumb things that we've done. David thought he came up with the dumbest thing he'd ever done, and not very dumb at all.
Gary thinks I've done
what's
dumber.
What's the dumbest thing you've ever done that comes to mind that you can tell us about?
I don't know if I have one of those that I can tell you about.
That's the part.
I was afraid of that.
Yeah,
you really don't do dumb things, do you?
Well, no, I wouldn't say that at all.
They got fired off the Landman deal.
Yeah, that was not very smart.
No money.
I mean, evidently I did something dumb there that I lost my job, my non-paying job.
Non-paying job.
Did they put you in the credits?
No. Once I made the mistake with the art director, it was over for Terry Fuller. I won't be asked back, I'm sure.
Yeah. Isn't that something?
Okay, I'll read this text after Terry leaves, because we need to talk serious NIL, the future of college athletics, because you're behind the, we're over here, but you're behind the scenes. You're back there behind closed doors with these folks.
Well,
and what's your thought on the future of athletics?
It's a never changing, or always change, not never changing, but ever changing landscape out there. And we had a Red Raider Club meeting that was well attended yesterday at the stadium, and Regent Cody Campbell gave a great talk explaining pretty much the landscape that we're facing now in college athletics with this new revenue sharing agreement that's been proposed. It's not officially in place yet, but that's where we're headed, is revenue sharing, and essentially that's going to be $20.5 million is now kind of becomes your magic number for a salary cap in essence. And so the courts have come up with this settlement, and that's the number that's being used. And so now all of a sudden your athletic department budget has a $20 million hole in it, because this is new money that's going to be spent as salaries to your athletes.
So part of that $20.5 million is scholarships, though, isn't it?
No.
Like I was saying, none of that money is scholarships.
It is not. This $20.5 million is salary. It's payment for your play. Has nothing to do with your scholarship, nothing to do with any of those existing benefits that you have as a student athlete. This is new money coming from the budget, and every university is going to be the exact same dollar number, $20.5 million. And so you're now faced with the dilemma of where are we going to get $20.5 million, because you've been running your athletic department as is, where is, on your existing funds you get from TV revenue, from the conference, the monies from, you get a little bonus for going to a bowl game, you get some bonus money for playing in the NCAA tournament, those type of things. At any rate, the Texas Tech budget is spent already. You're supporting 17 sports. So now you got to spend an extra $20.5 million, and where's that money going to come from? So for Texas Tech, what is being discussed, and because athletics is so important to Texas Tech University, as it is most universities around the country, there's some really interesting statistics out there about enrollment and how enrollment has been changing over the last decade as more and more students tend to go to universities that have successful athletic programs, football in particular, some men's basketball, but football in particular. Almost all of the schools in the Southeast Conference have seen really strong growth in their enrollment. I think the number was maybe even, 60,000 high school graduates from the state of Texas leave the state of Texas to go to schools in the SEC or the Big Ten. And so at any rate, that it's obvious that your athletic program is very important to the university, and because of that, Texas Tech administration, we were visiting about President Skubnik earlier. He has committed, with the support of the Board of Regents, that Texas Tech is going to fund a portion of that $20 million out of the Texas Tech ordinary budget. So maybe $10.5, $11 million are going to come from the university, and they have promised that money will not be, or that will not be extra charges to students. Yeah. We're not going to increase tuition. We're not going to increase student fees. It's going to come out of the university's budget somewhere, an extra $10 million. So that's going to leave the athletic department come up with another $10 million, essentially.
Yeah.
And the NIL collectives, all of that is going away. So the Matador Club is folding into the Texas Tech Athletic Department. Collectives will no longer be allowed. So
will there be a Matador Club, or will it be the Red Raider Club?
It'll be the Red Raider Club. There may be some rebranding that happens, but the Matador Club as a NIL collective will no longer exist. Yeah. And so the Red Raider Club is going to be looking for ways to increase donations, because we're going to have to come up with that extra, $10 million. If the university is going to pay 10, athletic department's going to have to pay 10, and that's going to come from donors in some shape, form, or fashion, whether it's, a direct donation, increased ticket prices, premium seating, those type of things. But donors are going to fund the vast majority of that. Now, the good news is the Matador Club has been in operation for a couple of 3 years, and they've been averaging about $10 to $11 million a year that they've fundraised. Mm-hmm. And so we're just going to have to continue that. But what we really, really need to emphasize is we need everybody participating, not just half a dozen guys footing that whole $10 million bill. We need thousands of people participating. I think there's something like maybe 250,000 living alums of Texas Tech University. And so we need to get as many of that 250,000 involved, even if it's, I'll donate $10 a month. If that's what you can do, we need you. Never feel like that you can't participate, because you can. Mm-hmm. If you can give 10, great. If you can give 25, that's even better. If you can do 100, terrific. The point is, we need thousands of people participating in that effort. We just had the very successful portal recruiting time period for football, and we have the number 1 ranked class in the country, and you can thank the efforts of 3 gentlemen for that happening, and that's Regent Cody Campbell, his partner John Sellers, and Gary Peterson from Houston. They fronted that money, and now we're going to effectively try to raise that $11 million that we spent on these players to help pay those guys back. Mm-hmm. But that's just the kind of commitment that you have at this university for athletics, is you have some people who are very willing to be a part of supporting what we do.
I'm going to go back to a point you just made, Terry, is those guys, I mean, you got to have those guys. You got to have the big guys. But I want to go back to the medium and small guys, because if you get too top heavy and all of a sudden 2 or 3 guys decide, they don't like the ping pong coach and they go south on you, you got to have their strength in numbers, and we got to have those small and medium people and the big people.
Yes, you got to have a combination of all of that to sustain this effort going forward. It's Texas Tech's goal, and in fact, it's pretty much a requirement for Texas Tech. To remain a Division I school, you have to have 17 sports. I believe is the number. It might be 16, but it's 16 or 17 sports. And that's exactly the number that we have currently. Yeah. So we cannot drop a single sport to save money, or we wouldn't be a Division I school, and then we could no longer have the football team and men's basketball team. So we are going to have to.
A lot of our sports that you're talking about, because obviously you're not going to drop football, basketball, baseball. Some of those other sports, a lot of them, they don't cost a lot of money anyway.
That's correct.
So you couldn't save a lot of money. I was sitting there thinking, well, come up with a sport that doesn't cost squat and change it for one that does cost squat, but we don't have a lot that costs much.
We have, you can look at women's softball, I think, has maybe a negative $1.5 million cash flow, essentially. Men's and women's tennis, they're both about maybe $700,000 negative each year. We were talking about track a little bit earlier. Very successful program, an indoor national championship, an outdoor national championship, many conference championships. But our track program has a negative cash flow of, about $3 million a year.
But here's the thing about track, though. You got indoors a sport, outdoors a sport, cross country's a sport.
Yes.
And I don't know if there's any more that you can.
And you've got a lot of athletes participating. So it's an expensive sport because of the scholarship. Well, not so much scholarships, because you're limited on the number of scholarships you can give in those particular sports. But you're feeding people, you're housing people, you're doing other academic services,
travel,
those kind of things. It's expensive, and all of our sports are kind of that way. The truth of the matter is, we get maybe 95% of our revenue comes from football and men's basketball, and those 2 sports pay for the other 15 sports that we provide at this university, and that's just the fact of the matter. So they're going to get the vast majority of this revenue sharing money because they're the ones that bring in that revenue.
Yeah.
But we need people to participate. We need you. If you're a fan out there listening today, and I hope you are, willing to get involved, we need you. The Texas Tech University Athletic Department needs you. The Red Raider Club needs you. Again, whether that's $10 a month or $1,000 or whatever the number may be, we just need you. What I would ask you to do is not just yourself, but you have friends. You have people, your classmates, people that you go and watch games with. Maybe you just go to the local bar and watch a game, or you have people come to your house. You have classmates, you have associates that are Texas Tech grads. Reach out to 5 or 7 of those people and get them to participate just like you are. Challenge them. Hey, I'll give 25 if all of you other people give 25. And then if each one of those 5 would reach out and get 5 more, that's how you make this thing grow. And that's what it's going to require over the long period to sustain what we have and what we want to continue to have here at Texas Tech. We're going to need people to participate in that endeavor.
That is awesome. That's a good way to say it. It's kind of network marketing. It's a great way. It's a great way to do it.
Power of compounding.
It is exactly right, and we need to be doing that. But that was a great word right there. Anything else you wrote down there that from your talk?
Oh, well, in NIL. So NIL landscape changes with this when this new agreement goes into account or into effect in July.
Got 1 minute.
Oh, okay.
But we can stick around.
Yeah, when it goes in July, NIL collectives disappear, and so we won't have those, and all NIL deals will be going through a national clearinghouse. Deloitte is going to be providing that service for the NCAA, and it'll be a direct business to athlete transaction, and it'll have to go through this clearinghouse to make sure it's a legitimate, that you're not paying somebody $5 million to advertise your car dealership, in Paducah, Texas.
Yeah, it's got to make sense.
Yeah, man, it's Pat Murchison said, very interesting listening to Terry explain things. Tell him thanks. He did a good job.
You've been listening to the Sports Talk with Thetford and Ashby podcast from Double T 97.3. Catch the show live Saturday mornings from 9 to noon on Double T 97.3 FM or on the Double T 97.3 mobile app.